Sup fam, welcome to Storytime with Karen and Kevin. I'm JF Kevin, and today we have two great stories for you. One in which OP's boyfriend keeps getting into fistfights with the cook at Wafflehouse. Our first story today is by Throwaway Wafflehouse. My boyfriend keeps getting into fights with the cook at Wafflehouse. I know this sounds really weird, but here it is. My boyfriend and I have been together for 3 years. We met and started dating when we were both in graduate school, but I dropped out to go back to college to pursue a different career. We're both finished now and live together, making a fairly nice combined income. Our income is relevant because we could afford to eat somewhere nice when we're out and about, but he always wants breakfast food. When he was a child, his dad couldn't stand eating breakfast type food in the afternoon or evenings, so his mom would make him waffles and pancakes, eggs and bacon in the evenings whenever his dad was busy or out of town. It's a wonderful and safe memory for him, and when he goes to his happy place, he says that's where he always goes. My boyfriend is an incredibly nice and caring person. He's emotionally tuned into everyone and recognizes arising issues a long time before they occur. He loves animals and is kind and gentle with every bug, bird, and pet that he comes across. He's almost always willing to turn the other cheek in social situations where somebody tries to insult him or get aggressive towards him, and usually winds up diffusing the situation and having a productive discussion about whatever the issue was. Except at Waffle House. Anytime we're out, he wants to go to the same goddamn Waffle House and get breakfast food. I'm not a big eater, so I used to not really care. I would just drink coffee and read my book while he enjoyed his food. But that became impossible once he and this one cook started chirping at each other every time we went there. My boyfriend complained about his eggs one time because he likes them a little runny and they were served hard. The cook responded by giving him scrambled eggs. When he complained about the scrambled eggs, the cook just brought him 2 hard-boiled eggs. Honestly, I think it was just part of the cook's shtick, and it was kind of funny to be honest, but my boyfriend was not able to laugh it off. When we left, he was kind of in a bad mood, but we didn't really talk about it. The next week, we were out getting some shopping done, and he wanted to go to Waffle House again. The same Waffle House. I suggested that we try out a different place, or at least a different Waffle House, but he only wanted the same Waffle House. So we went in and sat down, and once again, the same cook served his eggs wrong. This time, my boyfriend snapped at him and said he wasn't interested in messing around, and just wanted him to cook the eggs properly. So then the cook served him a piece of toast with a hole cut out in the middle with a fried egg in it. My boyfriend blew a gasket and threw the egg toast at the cook, which made the cook come around from behind the bar and throw it back at him. Next thing I know, they're sort of wrestling, fighting until my boyfriend was like, "This is bull," and walked out. Thankfully, nobody got hurt, but the few other people in there were watching and justifiably laughing a bit. Now, here's the crazy part. My boyfriend keeps going back and ordering eggs and getting into fist fights with the same cook. It's almost like a ritual at this point. My boyfriend orders runny eggs, the cook serves him some other version of eggs, and then they beat the shit out of each other. I quit going with him after the second fight, but he keeps going by himself. They're like Peter and the Giant Chicken from Family Guy. It's like the weirdest thing. They physically fought like 6 or 7 times over this. I've tried talking to him about it a few times, but he keeps saying it's a matter of principle. I've told him, like, just talk to the manager or something like that, but he just waves me off. Apparently, that cook has yet to make him the correct runny eggs. Honestly, it's like he spends the week learning new ways of preparing eggs just to piss my boyfriend off. Thankfully, we're getting married this summer, and he's accepted a job in a new city, and it'll be easy for me to find work, after the wedding. So we'll be moving away from his sworn enemy Waffle House cook. We haven't really been out since quarantine started, but it wouldn't surprise me if the first place he goes when it's lifted is that Waffle House. But really, my main worry is this strange, vindictive side of him I've never seen before that leads him to fight the same guy every week. The violence itself is an issue for me, but the obsession over it almost bothers me more. Should I be worried that this side of him will come up later in our marriage? How do I get him to open up about this? Is this type of obsession a choice, or is it indicative of something deeper? So down in the comments, there's a conversation that happens between some users. Normally I would read each user's name, but there's just so many of them. I'm just gonna read their comments. I'll do some different voices so you can kind of maybe follow along with the conversation. Because I personally, I thought this was pretty funny. It'd be really funny in some sitcoms This story, really funny. I laughed so much that I almost cried.
He put my eggs in a hole in the toast, Jerry, in the toast.
My son loves them, calls them eggs in a hole.
Why not holy toast?
I think it's actually called eggs in a basket. The bread is toasted and buttered and the eggs are served sunny side up.
Oh, cool. I never heard of that, but now I need to try them.
Oh, they're great, but I'm not sure I'd go to Wafflehouse to get them.
My mom always called it toad in a hole. Looking back, it's kind of disturbing, but I preferred soldier eggs, so it didn't come up so often.
Those are so good, we called them bird's nests. Where I'm from, at least.
Well, how about a simple meal that can be enjoyed by two close male relatives? Father, son, and holy toast.
Well, my favorite meal's called fried egg banjo.
And that's where I'm gonna stop. The thread keeps going, but some of the comments I chose not to read because they might be offensive to some of my viewers or listeners. And also, I don't need to spend another 10 minutes doing it. You get the idea. It's like that scene in Forrest Gump with the shrimp. It's like they just keep going, and it is really funny. So in the description of this podcast or YouTube video, I will link the source page that I have. This has been deleted from Reddit, but there's an archive site that I found. This is where I found the story. So you can go, if you want to read the rest of the story, the rest of the comments, you can go over there. All right, so our next story. This story is posted by ThrowRamad32018. My wife came home drunk at 2 a.m. with a carload of guys. My wife and I have been married for 15 years and have been together since our teens. She's normally a bit conservative and has only been intimate with me. I bust my ass and make good money, nice house, nice cars, and we have 2 great kids, 12 and 14. She works part-time jobs for extra income and just to get out of the house. In the beginning of June, she started working a few days a week at a new company and became close friends with a woman there named Misty. She constantly talks about her and texts back and forth every night, but I've yet to meet her. So, last Saturday night, my wife wanted to go have food and drinks with Misty at a local gastropub. I was totally cool with her going, and she said she'd be home by midnight. Since her car was in the shop getting some paint work done, she drove my truck. Midnight rolls around and she's not home, but whatever, she's an adult, so I figure I'll just wait. But then, it gets to be 12:45 and I'm like, okay, I'm starting to get worried, so I send her a text, which she never replies to. So I stay up watching TV until she gets home. Sometime around 2, I hear a car pull into the driveway and I go and look out the window, and I can see her and the female driver, who I can only assume is Misty, get out of the car. I could also see that there was at least 3 people still in the car. I could also tell that my wife could barely walk as the two approached the front door. I was already concerned, but I figured that her friend was being nice enough to make sure that she made it to the house safely. But when I open the door, her friend says,
"Hi, I'm Misty, your wife's best friend."
I look at my wife and she is completely trashed. She barely knows where she's at. I say hello to Misty and she responds with,
"We're here to get your Roku."
and I said, "Yeah, I think we're gonna call it a night." Then Misty responds,
"No, we're going back to my place to watch Stranger Things."
So I said, "Not tonight." I look at my wife, who's just completely out of it. I've never seen her this way. Then Misty grabs my wife's hand and says,
"We don't need your permission."
and starts leading her back to the car. I go after them, and that's when I notice there's 3 dudes sitting in the back of the car. I get close enough to grab my wife's hand, and I look at Misty and tell her, "Go the f*** home." My wife at this point seems to realize what's going on, and she stands behind me. And that's when one of the guys in the car starts running his mouth. This asshole has the audacity to say,
"Hey, buddy, you don't own her."
yeah, he's talking about my wife, the mother of my 2 children. Then he says,
"Do you want me to kick his ass?"
It's at this point, I lose my shit. I reach in the car and I grab him by his neck. I could see the fear in his eyes, and the other 2 guys seemed like they wanted nothing to do with this. At this point, my wife's walking back to the house and her friend Misty's yelling after her, calling me a violent, controlling abuser. I tell them to get the f*** off my property, and when I go inside, I find my wife puking in the shower. I put her to bed and decide to just wait till tomorrow morning to talk to her about what happened. When she woke up, I asked her where my truck was and who the f*** were those guys. She seems confused and asks, "What guys?" I say, "The guys you brought home to get the Roku, so you guys could Netflix and chill or whatever at Misty's house." She seems even more confused. She's like, "They came here?" And I said, "Oh yeah." She claims that her and Misty were having a couple drinks after eating and these guys kept coming over to talk to Misty. She remembers having a few drinks with them but claims to not even remember getting into a car. I ask her if she did anything that I should know about, and she swears up and down that she would never do anything like that. I told her this was complete and total bullcrap, and that this crap would never happen again. Then I told her the entire story about her friend coming to get the Roku, and the guys in the car, and me choking one out, and she thought I was joking. I showed her the footage from the Ring doorbell, and she was in complete shock at herself and couldn't believe the crap her friend was saying. I told her she could drop that friend or she could move out. She chose to drop the friend and even agreed to quit that job. It wasn't long before Misty started blowing up her phone, and I made my wife block her. Later that evening, a police car showed up and I was like, "Oh great, I'm getting arrested for choking that asshole out." But actually, Misty had called in to have a wellness check on my wife because she thought she was in danger. Today, that witch Misty called me at my job and said,
I know a lot of stuff about you.
I just told her to be careful because I would get a restraining order if she ever contacted us again. I then confronted my wife and asked her, "WTF is Misty talking about?" My wife acted like she had no idea. So now I'm not 100% sure that my wife is as innocent as I thought, and I have no idea what to do next. Okay, so on our channel, on our podcast, we read Reddit stories, and honestly, a lot of people like to go to Reddit and do creative writing stories and projects, and honestly, both of these stories today I don't really think are real. I think the Waffle House one is hilarious. This one seems like an edgelord trying to be like a cool guy and be like, "Oh, I'm a tough dude." And if it is real, OP, you're an asshole. You're a bad person, and your wife should leave you. Because, I mean, if this is a true story, I would be more concerned about my wife being drugged or something and not be suspicious of her behavior. That's just so out of my mind, like stupid. And just like overreacting in the wrong way. Do you love your wife? How about you just grateful she got home safe and she didn't end up going to Misty's with the strange three guys to Netflix and chill, as you put it. OP, if this is real, which I highly doubt, you're the asshole 1010%, and you deserve to die alone because you just sound like a big old butthole. All right, made me angry. Well, that's the end of the episode, and we truly appreciate you joining us today. If you like our content and want to hear more and want us to keep doing it, please subscribe, and if you're on YouTube, hit that notification bell. We look forward to seeing you again. Bye.